Hey folks, welcome back. Glad you're here. So, I started a video yesterday and then I fell asleep. Not while I was making it, but while I was watching it, see if it needed any editing, and then I woke up. Apparently the lack of sleep is really catching up on me, the new job, everything entailed with that. Learning, and it's a very very busy job, folks. But there's some downtime in between. But when it's busy, it is crazy busy, which I like, right? Anybody that's ever worked with me knows I like to keep busy. I don't like to stay idle very long. If there's nothing to do, I'll find something to do. Something somewhere needs cleaning, or I'll learn something new, right? I'm not going to bring my phone in, and I'm not going to play on my phone while they're paying me to work. I don't believe in that. So, which brings me to mind, folks. You know, I don't have much contact with many people younger than myself. It's usually people my age or quite a bit older. And so I'm kind of new at the young generation. I knew the young generation weren't motivated. I knew they really didn't. I'm not saying all of them, okay? I am saying a lot of them. I just not motivated. They just soon play on their phone every second they can. They're goofing off. They're dozing off. If somebody else is going to do it, if I wait just long enough, somebody else will do it and I won't have to. I can just sit right here, right? So I'm learning that work ethic, which is next to nothing. So that's kind of disappointing, because they're the future of this country, right? Right? So the cell phone. I know a lot of people are addicted to their cell phone. That's the last thing they see when they go to bed, and the first thing they see when they get up. They're picking it up, and I don't know what they're doing. In the language, when I grew up, if there was somebody around that you really didn't know, or somebody around that was a little bit older than you, or another generation from you, you had a lot of respect, right? You showed courtesy. You refrained from swearing and vulgar words. There seems to be no nothing anymore as far as that goes. They don't care if you're a grandma. They're going to be just as vulgar can be, and think it's, well, they talk like that all day long, 7 days a week, and they may, folks, they may, which is vulgar, just vulgar, just vulgar, folks. So that's that's who's going to be running our country, folks. If we have a country left, that is. That's what we have to look forward to. Proud, I can tell you right now. So yesterday, when I was coming home from work, I knew I needed a block of ice. So there's a Dollar Tree right next to the store where I can get, well, I used to be able to get ice for $2.50 for a 10-pound block. It's gone up to $3.99, folks, right? So $3.99 for a 10-pound block of ice. Couldn't believe it. I looked 2 or 3 times and I asked if the price was right on it. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, while I was right there, before I bought the ice, I went into the Dollar Tree. And folks, I have never seen that Dollar Tree look so sparse and so empty in all the times that I've been to the Dollar Tree. They had plenty of junk food. They had plenty of beauty supplies. They had, I swear to God, they had a whole shelf of fake fingernails and fake eyelashes, folks. Apparently nobody wants to buy them. Probably the only thing coming across the the ocean from China. Probably the only container that came was false eyelashes and false fingernails, and doesn't look like too many people are buying those. But the junk food section was pretty full. Not that I was interested in that junk food section. I was just going up and down the aisles. They used to have white dish pans for $1. Well, $1.25 now, right? They didn't have any of those. They didn't have any clear shoe boxes with the clamp down lids. So I'm going to have to figure something out. They did have the pails. I like those $1.25 pails. They're really good for the birds. Bringing them water, bringing them grain, whatever. They're just a really good size for $1.25. They hold up pretty good. So they're definitely worth $1.25. So I grabbed an extra one of those while I was there. And some more Tylenol, folks. Tylenol and a bottle of aspirin. They didn't have any Benadryl. They didn't have much for pain relief either. They didn't have much for health. They had stuff for eczema and psoriasis, and that's it. They didn't have anything else, folks. They had a box of Band-Aids there that looks like they had fallen on the floor and got stomped on, and put back up on the shelf. So, not much. I was really surprised. Really surprised, actually, folks. So, on the way back from China, at least they had some eyelashes, fake eyelashes, and fake fingernails, right? Now, folks, I'm not making fun of false eyelashes or fingernails. You do what you want. I don't care. It's none of my damn business. Maybe you don't like me wearing a bandana or know its purpose. That's all right, right? You do for you, I do for me. Life is still good. Life is still good. So, it is what it is, right? So that last video that I put up with me holding the water jug of my well water, and how just a small tidbit of an example of how my stepdad grew up in hard times with so many siblings and a widowed mother, right? That was just a small bit of what I could tell you, folks. But that video has got nearly 5,000 views. It's well over 4,000 if I remember right. So, thank you. Thank you for stopping by. That video alone got almost 200 subscribers. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, you'll find that my videos are just me talking, what's on my mind that day. I try to relate what's happening in the world to what I witness or what I hear or what I see and what I do here. Because, folks, basically I live my life and have lived my life back when the times were better. I live like the shit has already hit the fan here. I was going to say I don't have any running water, but I don't have any water at all right now because my well is dry. You know, I live without power. I use wood heat. I cook outside on the rocket stove. When it's nice, I cook inside in the winter. When I have the wood stove going, I cook on the wood cook stove inside the house. I eat very simple. I have a decent sized garden. I grow 90 plus of what I eat in vegetables. About 90-95% of all my meat is protein from what I raise here. So, you know, and I've got enough skills to get by if something were to happen right now. Do I have all the skills I would like to have? No, not at all. But I have enough skills from over the years and just by the nature of how I live and try to be as simple, just as simple as I can make my life. So I have learned several skills over the years, and most of those were from wanting to learn those skills, and some of those were from necessity, needing to learn those skills, right? And there's a lot more that I feel I need to learn. But folks, life is still good. Life is still good, and there's a lot of things, even though I live as simple and as primitive as I feel that I want to, life is still good, and I can always simplify. I can always simplify. I can pull my grass, the tall grass. I can pull the tall weeds in my yard instead of mowing or weed whacking, right? I could borrow my sister's goats and bring them down, and they could mow my grass for me, right? There's always a way. I could just let the damn things grow. The bees like them, right? So, you know, if you're used to a well manicured lawn, if you're used to a postcard perfect garden, postcard perfect lawn, postcard perfect house, postcard perfect family, that's all good. That's all good. That's perfect if that's what you want, and if you can afford to do that and have time to do that. Myself, I don't care if the lawn gets mowed. I don't care. I don't care. I've got so many bees here, folks, that I feel that I'm feeding the bees. So it's all good by me, right? It's all good. I wish I had well water. I do wish I had that. But again, it is what it is, and I'm making do, and I don't get angry about it. I don't get sad about it. I don't whine about it. I just say, okay, I don't have any water. What can I do? What can I do? My brain starts working. I come up with all these ideas on what I can do with what I have here, and then figure it out and move on, right? Just move on. So anyway, so I'm glad for all you new subscribers. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. I'm a very small channel, folks. What you see is what you get. I wear big and baggy here. Most of the time I have a bandana. And the bandana is because I have silver hair, right? It's not white, it's not gray, it's silver, okay? And for those of us who are getting older, you know that when your hair gets gray, white, or silver, you know it gets very brittle no matter what you do, right? So when you put it back, it breaks off. See, these right here, they're not quite long enough to go back in my little clip, and not quite long enough to gather it all up and put it in a ponytail elastic and then put it up in a clip. It just isn't. So the bandana keeps the scragglies when the wind blows or whatever from getting in my face and like that. It just works for me, folks. It just does. So I'm going to put this back on because, see that? I can't stand it. I just can't stand it, folks. So just that simple. Just that simple. It works. So I found another choke cherry bush, folks. Pleased with that. That means I have two wild ones. And my elderberries are looking pretty sparse this year. In one area in my garden had that fungus, so I pruned that pretty heavily. Way out back in what I call Birch Cove, there's a lot of elderberries there that just are weighing the branches right down, but I can see a trail through the swale grass where the bear have been getting at them. Speaking of bear, folks, speaking of bear, I got up this morning, I have a solar motion sensor light on my front deck. And when I woke up this morning, I was making all kinds of racket. And when I woke up this morning, my light was on. And instead of moving the door curtain to peek out, folks, because, you know, I hadn't had my coffee yet, so I weren't thinking all that smart. Open the door and there's a bear standing on all fours, looking at me about 5 feet away. So I hollered at it, and it went down over my deck, broke my deck railing, folks, and told him to get. Closed the door, made myself some coffee. Next thing I knew, the light came back on. The bear was back up on my deck. So, an older guy that brings a lot of treats for the birds had brought over some, oysters. Brought over some oysters and leaned it in a box, raw oysters, folks. Right up like this, leaning against my door, so when I opened the door, I would notice it before I tripped over it. Well, apparently, bear like oysters, folks. So, I tried to shoo the bear away. The bear just wasn't having anything of it, and I had to go to work, folks. So I went out my back door and got in my vehicle that way, and the bear was still up on my deck when I left. So, it is what it is. That's why if you have bear around, you do not keep any food lying around. You pick your chicken feed up. You do not leave your chicken feed or your chicken treats outside. I do have a chest freezer that I keep all the grains in, and I close that chest freezer and I put usually blocks of wood on it to give that a good seal. So they've done and I keep that in my wood shed, but I don't keep much grain in there in that freezer outside, because if they get into it, I don't want them to eat it all, right? But they have gotten in the woodshed and screwed things around and chewed a gas can, folks. Yeah, chewed a gas can. So I lost a gas can. So I don't know why bear like that. They'll chew gas cans. They'll chew oil containers there with oil in them. Or they'll drag it off through the woods with all kinds of tooth puncture marks all through it, and you can see the oil spurting out. And then I don't know if they get sick of it or figured it's not good to eat or whatever, but they just leave it, right? So eventually I find them. That bear don't keep anything lying around that they would like to eat or haul off, okay? And this bear here, I'm not really sure. It looked healthy. It looked really healthy. I don't know, just a brazen one, I guess. Just wasn't scared of me whatsoever. Not at all. So, or I'm not scared of it. I just said, well, if I can't shoo it away, now if I didn't have to go to work, I'd have stayed there and did whatever I could to shoo it away, discourage it from coming back. But I had to go to work. I didn't have time to mess with the bear this morning. I just didn't. So, not many. I'm going to get back to the 20-year-olds. Not many 20-year-olds are on here. Not that my statistics show. But if you are a 20-year-old something, I hope you're more mature than a lot of the 20-year-olds that I am encountering. I hope you're more respectful around others. I hope you are not spending hours and hours and hours, or even minutes upon minutes on your cell phone while you are working. Because any employer that has you for an employee, I bet during the interviewing process they didn't ask you how well you could run your cell phone, right? Or how long you could go without your cell phone. So they probably don't want you on your cell phone while they're paying you to do a job, right? So the responsible, and I'm not saying just the 20-year-olds do that. I know some people my age that do that, folks. I know some people my age that have a real piss poor work ethic. Just don't care. All I gotta do is show up to work, do absolutely nothing, and companies are so hard up for anybody to come in and do something that they keep them, right? Because they can't find a replacement. They just can't. No one wants to work, folks. So anyway, I pulled my beans tonight. First thing I did when I got home is I pulled out my bush beans. Tomorrow night I will probably amend that soil a little bit. I will put some more bush bean seeds into water to get them to swell and soften up, and probably tomorrow night I will plant my bush beans, so I'll have at least 2 crops this year. And we'll see about a third, depends on what happens. The word is, the consensus is around here that we're going to have an early fall. Everything has been about a month early this year, so they are thinking we're going to have fall a month early. So that cuts the garden season real short up here, right? Real short. So I might not be able to get 3 batches in, 3 plantings in, but I know I'll at least probably get 2 plantings in. And that'll be good for this year. It'll have to be. It'll just have to be, right? So I hope you all are well. Thank you for coming back. For those of you who have been here, for any new subscribers, thank you for stopping by. I hope I don't disappoint. And all my videos usually aren't this long. If you want to go back in the playlist or below in my videos, you'll see that I try to give information out. I try to make it worthwhile information, and I'm going to try to be as much myself as I possibly can. So far, so good. And I haven't turned too many people off. Some people I have. So, but that's all right. That's all right. It's always nice to get subscribers. It's always nice to watch my channel grow, folks. But the purpose of my YouTube channel is to help others help themselves, to get ideas, to share my experiences here, because I live like shit hit the fan already. So I've got a little bit of experience, and even though I talk backwards a lot, they still follow me, so thank you for that. Alright, the mosquitoes are going to lug me off. Thank you so much again. I appreciate it. Thank you. Come back.